How's going, guys? Welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the trigger shinobi and got harem with Mikoto? Huge shout out to Zaara the Black for this story. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. Konoha. The village hidden in the leaves. The strongest of the big 5 hidden villages. While on the outside they were a great village, like anywhere else they were divided on the inside by the 5 powers of the village. The Clan Council. The council that was made up of the 4 royal clans that joined Konoha shortly after its creation. The Aburame clan, the Hyuga clan, the Akamichi clan, and the Uchiha clan. They represented the clans, the defensive power of the village. The Civilian Council. The Merchant Guild, the Farmers Guild, and the Banking clans. They were the working class that needed the defense of the village to function. The clan that had the most power in the Civilian Council was the Harem clan. The Shinobi Council. Outside of the Hokage, they were the commanders and power behind the village. The ANBU commander, the head ninja, second highest position in the village ranking, and the Jonin commander. The Elder Council. The 2 men and women who had seen more combat combined than the entire shinobi force combined. The Hokage. The ultimate force in the village. The man that ran the place. Namikaze Minato. Currently the council was in a bit of a dilemma. For the last 4 years, not one of their genin had made it past the second round of the Chunin exams. With 2 exams a year, that was 8 Chunin exams failed. This was not a good thing. The genin represented the strength of the future of the village. What kind of message did it send to their rivals Kumo and their enemies Iwa if their genin were so weak? Who will we be sending to the Chunin exams this time, Hokage-sama? Asked Uchiha Fugaku, the head of the Uchiha clan and the chief of police. Minato sighed upon hearing this. No one, Uchiha-sama. Our genin are not prepared if the records to be accurate. With our performances in the last exam, it is best if we leave it be for now, said Minato. Hokage-sama, if we do nothing and at least show ourselves, how can we save face? Asked Danzo. I'm more worried about our genin coming back alive than saving face, Danzo-san. Remember, we lost all 21 genin we sent to the Iwa genin exams just a year and a half ago. 2 of which came from the Hyuga clan and the Aburame clan. We can ill afford to be so reckless with our troops, said Minato. Perhaps I can help you with that, Hokage-sama, came a voice from the entrance. Guards! Yelled Hyuga Hisashi. Your guards are currently indisposed, Hyuga-sama, said a female voice. 2 people walked into the chambers. The first was a man who stood at nearly the same height as Minato, who was about 6 foot even, long red hair that was pulled into a ponytail, wearing a long white jacket and black pants. On his face was a black mask with red markings on them. Next to him was a woman who stood at 5 feet 6 inches long, waist-length white hair that stopped at her waist, wearing a form-fitting cloak, and a black mask that left only her plump lips visible. All shinobi prepared for a fight, but the male held up his hand. Be calm. I am a resident of Konoha, as is my associate, said the male as the woman bowed. Then who are you? Asked Chika. The male laughed. No need for you to know. However, if you must call me something, call me director. All you need to know is that I offer a game changer of sorts, said the man. A game changer? Asked Minato, interlocking his fingers in front of his face. How so? The woman nodded. My master has seen the things that have been happening in the village and is offering help in the form of a new weapon, said the woman. What kind of weapon? Asked Mizuki Haruno. My dear, said the man, looking to the woman that was with him. The woman walked forward and opened her jacket. Slightly underneath her cloak was a black pair of boy shorts. Attached to a thigh holster was a black device that was about 6 inches long with holes on the edges of it. What is that, Director-san? Asked Shiba Aburama. The game changer, said Director. Trigger on, said the woman as the device glowed. The device vanished as a long glowing katana appeared in her hand. The male smiled. This is the future of the village. The trigger is a weapon. Sorry. Weapon is too simple for what a trigger is. It is a combination of seals that allows the user to mold their chakra with the help of the device into a variety of ways. Of course, this is a normal trigger, said the man. Normal trigger? Asked Minato. Yes. While I was developing this device, I created something called a black trigger. It is a unique device that only worthy individuals can hold. My associate and I both hold black triggers. I have already mass-produced the regular triggers and I am willing to give them to Konoha for a few favors and prices to be named in the future, said the man. The woman made her katana devolve before putting it back on her thigh. The man reached into his coat and retrieved a scroll. He threw it to Minato, who caught it easily. Minato examined the scroll looking for any indications of traps or tampering. After checking it, he nodded before setting it down before him. What is in there, Director-san? Asked Sarutobi, the previous Hokage, and the professor. Inside the scroll are the casing and the actual triggers, said the woman. I'm sure a few of your jonin can figure them out quickly enough. Why? Asked Danzo. The man looked at Danzo. Let's just say that I wish for the village to grow and see the future, said the man as he put his hand on the woman's shoulder before they vanished. Minato picked up the scroll and looked at it. What are you up to? Thought Minato. Location unknown. Hidden research facility. Same time. The duo who were just inside of the council chambers appeared and separated. They both held up a trigger and deactivated them. In the place of the two stood vastly different people. The woman retained her height of 5 feet 6 inches with a slender build, D-cup wrists, and a round face. Her white hair took a darker shade and became black, her face was soft, and her eyes black. She wore a pink shirt, blue jean pants, and a heels. This was Uchiha Mikoto, the woman who was supposed to wed Fugaku, but refused. She was the woman who was exiled from the Uchiha clan and found herself a ward of the Uzumaki clan after her Sharingan was sealed away. The man shrunk from his height of 6 feet 1 inch to just 5 feet 2 inches. His blood-red hair retracted and became spiked. His eyes were a sapphire blue. 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek, wearing a black shirt, red track jacket, and shorts. This was Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, the twin brother to the Jinchuriki and forgotten child of the Hokage. That went surprisingly well, Naruto-sama, said Mikoto, walking over to a teapot and putting some leaves inside of it. Naruto nodded, before turning to his computer and began to sync the data from the triggers to his mainframe. I'm surprised he didn't question us further, Mikoto-chan. I only gave him our failures. Then again, maybe it was your Sharingan that stopped them from asking too much, said Naruto. Mikoto activated her Sharingan, but unlike the standard Sharingan, it was a wheel that had 6 tomi going counterclockwise. She smiled at Naruto before standing behind him with her arms wrapped around his shoulders. Naruto and Mikoto had a complex relationship. She was the mother he needed, and he was the child she wanted. She had been his sensei for more than 5 years. Now they were each other's entire world. So what will you do with the data, Naruto-sama? Asked Mikoto, placing her head on Naruto's shoulder. I'll use it to build better triggers. Besides, with our black triggers, no one in the village will stop us if we decide to go with our contingent plan, said Naruto as the first triggers began to come online. Location: Namikaze/Uzumaki residence. Kitchen. 06305 years after triggers are introduced to Konoha Shinobi Froses. Mikoto tried to hold in a phone as she put breakfast on the plates for the family. The only problem was that her ward, master/lover, had his hand playing with her flump rear end. Master! Please! Kushina, or worse, your sister could come in at any moment, said the blushing former Uchiha. Naruto leaned into Mikoto so he was in her ear. What's life without a little danger? Asked Naruto. Mikoto felt a shiver run down her back as Naruto removed his fingers and took a seat at the table. About a year ago their relationship had went from mother/son and master/servant to lovers. She was still his #1 assistant, but now their experiments that took a while was now filled with the sounds of effects while they waited. Of course, thanks to Naruto, or as Konoha had come to know him as director, the village hop pulled a complete 180 in just a few short years. 2 years after the introduction of triggers, the 5 teams sent to Suna for the exam not only dominated the field, but also passed on to Chunin in their rookie year. Now trigger activation and training was mandatory. Even so, Konoha still went by the traditional system of ninja ranks, with the added bonus of the trigger rankings. With the ranking going from E to S, Konoha actually had 7 S-rank trigger users, and no surprise they were a ranked Jonin/Umbu. With Kakashi, Asuma, and Dai being the only ones to currently have use of a black trigger. "Ni-sama!" yelled a voice from the stairs. Naruto sighed as he heard his twin sister speak. "In the kitchen, Kasumi," said Naruto as Mikoto sat a piece of toast in front of him. Kasumi ran into the kitchen and took a seat. Kasumi was a beautiful girl. The most beautiful girl in their class, actually, if her fanboys were to be believed. She stood at 5 feet 3 inches with large C-cup wrists, and a bubble foot, long strawberry blonde hair that went to her shoulders, bright blue eyes much like his own, 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek. She wore blue skin-tight pants, a white shirt, and a blue jacket. On her left side was her trigger. "What do you want?" asked Naruto, giving his sister a deadpan look. Kasumi took her trigger and put it on the table. "I want to know if you were going to apply for the gunner position on my team?" said Kasumi with a smirk. Naruto picked it up and swiped his hand over it. Naruto, while not a master of trigger combat, and considered the dobe of his graduating class, was the smartest person when it came to trigger maintenance, and even outdid professionals in that field. If only they knew that Naruto had the strongest trigger in the village. Kasumi was an attacker, so she liked to get up close and personal with the enemy. Her main trigger was Kogetsu, the most popular trigger of them all. It was shaped like a katana and even came with the optional trigger to lengthen or shorten the blade. Kasumi preferred to use dual Kogetsu. Outside of that, she had her chakra chains and water jutsu to fall back on. Naruto considered himself a all-rounder with a sword-style lance known as the R-Javelin, Asteroid, and Hound triggers wind modal to fall back on. Not to mention his wind and water-style ninjutsu as well as his black trigger. But since only 4 other person knew about the black trigger, he had to be careful when he practiced with it and used it. Naruto got up and went to retrieve his combat trigger. "I'm not joining your team, Kasumi. I have no desire to be your backup," said Naruto, leaving. Kasumi looked down. "But you're the only person I trust to watch my back," said Kasumi, looking at Naruto with teary eyes. "Give Naruto-kun some time. He's had it rough these last few weeks," said Mikoto in a motherly tone of voice. Kasumi rounded on Mikoto with a glare. "Stay away from Ni-sama, Mikoto! He's my beloved Oni-sama!" yelled Kasumi. Mikoto's eyes took a dark tint for a second as she suppressed her killing intent. She didn't need to reveal that she was probably one of the stronger trigger users in the village, just to shut up some brat. It was a well-known fact that Kasumi was a Brokon and was already in the running to be promoted to C rank and even considered to get a black trigger from the director. Of course, her Naruto-sama only ever gave the village his failures. Everything from the Kentetsu blades to the asteroid were all failures in Naruto's eyes. The only ones even close to perfect were her own and his black trigger. Workshop 1200. Naruto sighed as he took another failed trigger and threw it behind him. Naruto rubbed his temple in annoyance. "Why is it that I've been ending up with crap as of late?" asked Naruto. "This trigger isn't crap, Naruto-sama. It's the most powerful scorpion trigger I've ever seen," yelled Naruto's self-appointed assistant, Higurashi Tenten. Tenten was a year older than Naruto and a full-fledged genin and an all-rounder. She normally used 2 short scorpion blades, viper bullets, and wires. Of course, she was only a C-rank trigger user since Naruto refused to give her a black trigger. Tenten stood at 5 feet 4 inches with large C-cup wrists, and a tight, toned stomach that made the girls of Naruto's class jealous when they saw her with Naruto. Brown hair that was pulled into 2 buns, dark brown eyes, wearing a black Chinese top that stopped above her stomach, black matching pants, and a blue track jacket. Naruto pulled away from his computer. "All I managed to do was increase the power of the trigger by 200%. Few people would be able to use that. Even myself. It's overly powered and would drain the chakra from its user far too fast to be of any use," said Naruto before removing his glasses. Tenten frowned. Although Naruto didn't need his glasses, they made him look sexy as hell. "What about you?" asked Tenten. Naruto smirked. "While I do have the legendary Uzumaki chakra and life force, I have no interest in a trigger that will drain me dry within 30 minutes, said Naruto. Tenten understood that. While she wasn't a master of triggers or understanding them, she knew enough that for each weapon and attack used, chakra was utilized to its fullest potential. If anything, it's best to hand it to an enemy and make them think that they have the up. "Shit," said Naruto before he got up and held out his trigger. "What's wrong, Naruto-sama?" asked Tenten. "Ka-chan showed up and dispelled my clone." "Trigger on, gate!" yelled Naruto before he warped away. Tenten smiled as her master left. Tenten had only been in Naruto's or the director's service for a little over a year. She had come to Naruto to learn about trigger maintenance, since he was said to be the best. Even the best trigger techs paled in comparison to him. She just hoped that one day her master would give her a black trigger. While Konoha officially had 7 black trigger users, her master and his right hand made 9. Tenten hoped that soon she would be allowed to have a black trigger. Until then, she was content with her scorpion blades and shield. The young weapons mistress removed her gate trigger before leaving. She had a team meeting to attend as it was. With Naruto. Naruto appeared in the academy courtyard before running to Irika's class. Throwing the door open, he was met with a fist to the gut that doubled him over. Naruto went to his knees as he looked up to see the person who punched him. Standing there was his mother and head of the combined Uzumaki/Namikaze family. Uzumaki Namikaze Kushina. Kushina stood at 5 feet 6 inches with a full-body figure that made many men lust after her. If it wasn't for the fact Minato was a jealous man and Naruto was quite protective of his family. Long red hair that went past her ass, dark purple eyes, wearing a no-sleeve blue shirt that was skin-tight, a jonin vest that was unzipped, dark blue cargo shorts, high-heeled kunoichi sandals. On her thigh were 2 triggers, one of them being black. Kushina was the second strongest kunoichi in the village, right behind Tsunade and right above the Tsum and Mikoto. Kushina had only been back on active duty for about 5 years now, but had already made enemy nations remember that she was once called the Red Typhoon for a reason. It also didn't help that she wasn't afraid to show her kids tough love. "Where the hell were you, Naruto?" yelled Kushina, crossing her arms. Naruto got to his feet before rubbing his head in an embossed manner. "Sorry, Ka-chan. I was going over some of the trigger codes that were quite interesting and wanted to see if I could figure it out," said Naruto. "If you spent as much time training as you did researching, then you might actually be a worthy husband to me," said one of the students. Naruto looked at said student and sighed. It was his cousin and future wife Senju Akira, the daughter of Dan and Tsunade. She was 17 years old. A year older than most of the class because she started a year late due to her taking a year to be in the medical program. She stood at 5 feet 4 inches with E-cup frieze that rivaled her mother, sliver blue hair with blonde highlights that was pulled into drilled ponytails, hazel eyes, wearing a dark gray kimono top, black skin-tight leggings, blue shinobi sandals, and black gloves. Akira had been a friend of theirs since they'd born. She had always been told that Naruto would be her future husband. She was the second strongest female in the class right behind Kasumi, and was known as one of the Konoha Goheims. Along with Kasumi, Hinata, Sakura, and Ino. Naruto got to his feet and dusted off his shirt. "Well, if that is the case, then I don't need to tell you that your hound trigger is off by 15 degrees. You scorpion blades are also 10% ineffective currently," said Naruto. Kushina looked at Naruto with a sigh. "If you're so adamant about maintenance, why not just join R&D?" asked Kushina. Naruto shook his head. "Because the people in R&D don't understand dick about triggers. They play like they understand, whereas I understand," said Naruto with a heavy sigh. "Don't act smart, dope. Yeah, you're good at maintaining a trigger, but you're still one of the weakest fighters in class," said Sasuke with a sigh. Naruto and Sasuke were best friends/rivals. The worst and the best of the class respectively. Sasuke used Scorpion and Light Screen Shield as his primary with the Viper Lightning modal as his fallback with a pistol. Naruto smiled at his rival before making his way to his seat. He had little else to say to anyone as the listen got underway and Kushina left the room. Ichiroka Ramen. 1740. Naruto sat in his usual spot with a bowl of miso ramen as well as a bowl of shrimp. He had a Trigger laptop out before him reading a report from one of his projects. Honestly, he was liking the results, but only the director could get things moving forward at this rate. Shutting down the laptop, he turned to his ramen and allowed his glands to salivate before digging in. "Do you like it, Naruto-kun?" asked his longtime friend Ain. She was also one of the 5 people in on his alter ego. Ain was a beautiful girl if a bit average. At 22 she stood at 5 feet 4 inches with C-cup wrists and rounded hips, giving her a semi-hourglass figure. She looked like she worked out on a regular basis, long brown hair that stopped just past her shoulders, dark brown eyes, wearing a long-sleeve white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, white pants, a gold bracelet with a black stone, and Shinobi sandals. Hidden in her bracelet was her black trigger and Kotetsu trigger under her red apron. Seeing as she was a Chunin-ranked Shinobi chef, it was only right that she had a weapon that matched her skills. "So how long before you graduate?" asked Ain with a smile. Naruto smiled. "A week. About the same time it will be finished," said Naruto, polishing off his bowl of shrimp before requesting another bowl. Ain quickly put together another bowl, before putting it before her friend. "I didn't realize that it was almost done. Still, what about the council? They've been pushing for stronger and more deadly triggers. And even with them having things like Viper's Kotetsus and other such things, they're still looking into others," said Ain. "I've been looking into long-range applications. So far the longest range I've been able to get is 1,000 meters for the weakest modal so far," said Naruto, finishing off his bowl. "That far, huh? What's the shortest range you have for the strongest?" asked Ain. 500 meters. However, the amount of power needed behind such an attack requires a chakra monster. Or someone who doesn't mind using up all their chakra in one attack," said Naruto. Namikaze/Uzumaki Mansion. 1800. Naruto entered the house, only to be grabbed in a headlock by his father. "What the hell is this I hear about you skipping school?" yelled Minato. Naruto gasped in pain. Naruto grabbed Minato's arm, throwing him onto the ground, before jumping on his back and putting Minato in a camel clutch. Minato screamed in pain. "What the hell kind of father attacks his son out of nowhere?" yelled Naruto. Minato used the Harashin to appear behind Naruto, putting him in a full Nelson lock with his legs around his chest. "The same kind of father that expects better of his loser son," yelled Minato. Naruto flipped Minato onto his back. "Who the hell you calling a loser, girly man?" yelled Naruto. Minato gasped before he got in Naruto's face. "Take it back!" yelled Minato. "Hell no!" yelled Naruto. Minato screamed before he was hit in the head by his wife and daughter for attacking Naruto. This was the family. While both Minato and Kushina were busy, they always had time for their family. They always had time for the love they shared with each other. It was something that the woman watching craved greatly. At least they paid attention to him now. And it only took 10 years and an attempt on his life, thought Mikoto as she returned to her duties. Training Ground 15. 1300. Naruto, or as he was currently acting as director, was quite glad that today was a Saturday. If today was a school day, then he wouldn't be able to do his new trigger demo to Minato and the Shinobi Council. With him was Tenten, acting in her own alias as his bodyguard Loli. Her normal bun hair was down and went to her shoulders. She wore a long black coat that was fully buttoned, white pants, and a full white mask on her face. The 4th Hokage Namikaze Minato, Jonin Commander Narushika, Anbu Commander Wolf, and Head Ninja Harino Kazashi. Loli went for her trigger, but a hand gesture from her master stopped her. The director walked forward and gave a slight bow. "Hokage-sama, members of the Shinobi Council, I welcome you to this trigger demo," said director. Kazashi crossed his arms and slid his hands into his kimono top. As one of the 3 men who had been considered for the position of Hokage, he could be called one of the men. Once considered the rival of Minato. Where Minato had the flying thunder god, Kazashi had the bringer of darkness techniques. He was known to many as the evil light of Konoha. Where normally he was a kind man, once in battle he was a monster. Even Minato did not want to fight the man if he didn't have to. I hope that you're not wasting out time, young man. We are busy men and have much we need to do, said Kazashi, glaring at the director. Loli growled in the back of her throat as she drew her trigger. How dare you disrespect Director Sama? Kazashi took his hand out of his kimono, revealing his own trigger, a black trigger. Girl, you don't want to fight me. Minato put his hand on Kazashi's shoulder and gave it a firm squeeze. Stand down, my old friend, ordered the yellow flash. Loli, that is enough, said the director firmly. Loli and Kazashi looked like they wouldn't comply before both did as ordered. Loli was still glaring at Kazashi as she took a step back and to the right of director. Now that the unpleasantness is out of the way, why did you call us Director-san? Asked Minato. To show you 2 new triggers, Hokage-sama, Shinobi Council members, said director. Loli walked forward and summoned a case with 2 weapons. Opening it showed 2 spikes, one that was longer than the other by 4 inches with a handle between them, and then a handle that had a translucent blade and was about 14 inches long. 2 new triggers? The blade looks like a cross between the scorpion and Kentetsu. The other one I can't place, said Wolf. That's because it is a long-range trigger I call lightning, said director, pulling out the blade. This one here is called Ray Gust. A shield and a sword all rolled into one. It has a higher defensive rating than offensive, but with a thrust addition to what is a powerful trigger you can easily cut through anything. Director activated shield mode of Ray Gust just as several bullets impacted the shield. Loli appeared and grabbed lightning before vanishing into the trees, before unloaded several bullets. Each bullet left a creaks in the shield, but it held. Loli appeared next to director with a smoking gun. Impressive. Especially, what did you call it, Director-san? Ray Gust? Asked the wolf. Hi Anbu-san, said the director. Lighting would be especially useful with the Hyuga clan's Byakugan. If it truly has the long-range capabilities that you say, then you just change the scope of war. And given this village an unrivaled weapon, said Minato. Loli brought up a case and handed it to Shika. I've done no such thing, Hokage-sama. All I did was provide the tools for my people, said the director before he vanished. A week later. Genin exams. Naruto looked over his exam as everyone was still struggling with theirs. 45 minutes into the hour of the written exam, that was about 70% of their grade. Naruto had finished his test quickly and was actually working on the project that would be finished by the end of the day. It was currently the 5th strongest black trigger of the close to 30 he had created, with his own black trigger being the strongest of them. Honestly, if he really wanted to, he could easily defeat even Kakashi. No, that was incorrect. Naruto with his black trigger was powerful. Maybe strong enough to beat a low to mid-level Jonin. Without it, he was maybe enough to beat several groups of Genin and a few mid-level Chunin if he was to go full out with his regular triggers. Time's up. Pens down, said Mizuki. Naruto did as told and looked around the rest of the class. Akira had finished about the same time as Haruno Sakura and Hinata Hyuga. Iruka and Mizuki cleared the room and started to collect the exams. As they did, Mizuki stopped at Naruto's exam and began to read it. Mizuki frowned as he saw that Naruto would make 100. It wouldn't do to mess with the boy's test. Location: Academy Training Grounds. 10 minutes later. Iruka stood before the students as he explained the second part of the exams. It was a sparring match between themselves and one of the 5 academy instructors present. The purpose of this exam was to last a total of 5 minutes, or land a blow to an otherwise seasoned Chunin. Sasuke, Kasumi, Akira, and Hinata all lasted the full 5 minutes, whereas Kiba, Ino, Sakura, Shino, and Choji lasted between 3 and 4 minutes. Others like Shikamaru gave up right off the bat. Finally, it was Naruto's turn and his opponent was Mizuki. Naruto stepped up and drew his trigger. Please go easy on me, Mizuki-sensei, said Naruto. Mizuki nodded before activating his trigger. It was a pair of scorpion blades. He also had the optional full camo trigger, but that was where his weakness lay. Akira looked at the match intensely. I hope Naruto-kun doesn't embarrass himself or me, said Akira. Kasumi glared at her rival. Oni-sama is going to wipe the floor with Mizuki Baka, said Kasumi, fangirling on her brother. Trigger on, said Naruto as he summoned a massive sword/lance. Mizuki raised an eyebrow as he looked at the weapon. Not many people favor the R-Javelin, Naruto-kun, said Mizuki. Its length doesn't leave much time to recover from a block to counter-attack. Naruto smiled. Of course they don't. It's an ideal weapon for a person such as myself who is a battle analyzer, said Naruto. Mizuki narrowed his eyes slightly as he charged at Naruto. This was the signal that the timer had started. Naruto rolled under the attack, before putting his hand up and firing off several small green bullets. Mizuki used his scorpion blades to block them, but nearly lost his head as the blade extended and cut into his cheek. Mizuki growled before going into full camo. Naruto looked around, before sighing. He held up his hand and allowed the field to be filled with several slow-moving bullets. Mizuki's eyes widened. With so many bullets I can't outspeed him without getting hit. Even with the shields, thought Mizuki as he looked around, until he saw an open path. Smirking, Mizuki took off along the path only to get trapped in wire 5 feet from Naruto. Naruto turned to Mizuki. Naruto ran the hand signs, before blowing Mizuki out of the ring with an air bullet. Everyone, including Iruka, looked at Naruto in amazement. The known loser of the academy not only outsmarted a Chunin, but beat him with a C-rank jutsu. W winner! Uzumaki Naruto! Yelled Iruka. Mizuki held his chest as he gasped for breath. How? Asked Mizuki. You thought that you had the upper hand. I've been playing you from the start. You're quite skilled, Mizuki-sensei. If it wasn't for the fatal weakness of the camouflage trigger, then you could have beaten me, said Naruto. Mizuki glared at Naruto. What flaw? I've been using it for over 3 years and I've never noticed a flaw, said Mizuki. Naruto closed his eyes and made his lance vanish. If you haven't noticed a flaw in all this time, then you've reached the limits of your full potential. You will never advance further than you already have in life, Mizuki-sensei, said Naruto, walking away. Mizuki balled up his fists and glared at the back of Naruto's head. I'll make that little bastard pay, thought Mizuki with all his rage and hate directed at Naruto. Classroom. 15 minutes later. Naruto sat at his desk thinking up a new trigger. It was the last exam and he knew that he could pass. The last test was to be able to use the clone technique correctly. It is a long-standing fact that Uzumaki were not very good at the clone technique, but with enough control they could manage the vast ocean of their chakra. Naruto sat back as he awaited his turn. "Onai-sama!" cried out Kasumi as she ran into Naruto's arms. Naruto held her, before pulling away. "What wrong, Kasumi?" asked Naruto. Kasumi grinned before raising her head and showing off her headband wrapped around her neck. "I'm a ninja now, Onai-sama," said Kasumi. Naruto smiled, before patting her head. "Then I guess I'd better pass as well. Or else Ka-chan will kick my ass," said Naruto before getting up and walking into the exam room. Mizuki and Iruka sat in the chairs as Naruto walked into the room. "Alright, Naruto-kun, we need you to make 3 clones," said Mizuki. Naruto did as told, creating 3 fully functional shadow clones. Naruto walked up to the desk and took his headband without a word, but as he did he felt Mizuki's ki on full blast. Naruto ignored him and left the room. "What are you up to, Mizuki?" Naruto asked himself as he summoned a chakra drone. "Follow Mizuki," said Naruto as the drone flew off. Later that night, Naruto sat in his lab watching every move Mizuki made. On the other hand, he'd rather be with his family and friends, but he had a traitor to deal with. Naruto sat back and watched as Mizuki broke into the Hokage Tower and stole not only the Forbidden Scroll, but a black trigger. Naruto rubbed his head. "This is going to be a pain in the ass. I have no choice but to deal with it, before the Anbu or my two-san, said Naruto before he vanished. In the forest, next to the abandoned shack. 1900. Mizuki laughed as he looked at his bounty. Not only did I manage to get the forbidden scroll for Orochimaru-sama, but I got a black trigger for myself. This couldn't get any better, said Mizuki. You're right, it will only get worse, said Naruto walking into view. Mizuki got up and grinned. I was wrong. Now I get to kill the brat who humiliated me, said Mizuki holding out the black trigger. Trigger on! Yelled Mizuki, activating the trigger. Appearing in his hand was a okatana with a ghostly figure hovering above him. Naruto frowned. Apparition! One of the astral projection triggers. Also a semi-sentient trigger, said Naruto as he reached into his pocket and pulled out his trigger. Naruto held the trigger out and summoned his sword lance. Let's get this over with, said Naruto, before he vanished and reappeared behind Mizuki. Mizuki's eyes widened as the astral form spun around, blocked the attack from Naruto. Naruto vanished again before appearing a few feet away from Mizuki while doing one-handed hand signs. Wind release! Air bullet! Yelled Naruto, firing 5 air bullets at Mizuki. Mizuki raised his katana in a blocking fashion, blocking the bullets, before slashing at Naruto. The astral form did as Mizuki did and unleashed an energy wave at Naruto. Naruto jumped high into the trees as the wave cut through several of them. Mizuki smirked, before putting both hands on the katana. He raised the katana before slashing several times and unleashing several waves. Naruto continued to move through the trees as he avoided the slashes. Once stable, Naruto pulled his lance back and thrust it, unleashing a blast of chakra at Mizuki. Mizuki raised his right arm, allowing the shield aspect of the apparition to tank it. Mizuki charged at Naruto and slashed at him. Naruto raised his blade and blocked the attack, only to be sent flying into the shack. Naruto slowly rose from the shack, shaking his head as blood dripped from a shallow cut. A 22% strength increase? Not something that I foresaw in this trigger, muttered Naruto as he wiped the blood out of his eye. Naruto got up and summoned several bullets, before letting loose while charging at Mizuki. Mizuki blocked the attacks with the apportion, before attacking Naruto head-on with his okatana. Naruto slashed back, stopping his attack, before stepping on his blade, before Naruto raised his hand at Mizuki's face. Die, Viper! Yelled Naruto. Mizuki pulled the apparition back into his body, allowing him to tank the hit. Mizuki skidded backwards and glared at Naruto as the burns and cuts slowly healed. Naruto looked at Mizuki. Regeneration speed is quite nice. Able to heal from minor wounds that was inflicted by a weak viper. Could be on par with Uzumaki regeneration healing, said Naruto. Give up, Naruto! You're not strong enough to beat me, yelled Mizuki. Naruto sighed. I didn't have to beat you. I had to stall you out, said Naruto, allowing his trigger to vanish. Mizuki growled before he pushed the apparition into the okatana. He yelled out as he charged at Naruto, and just a few feet away from Naruto as his eyes widened, before he threw up blood. Stepping backwards, he glared at Naruto as he dropped the okatana as it reverted to its sealed mode. Naruto picked up the trigger and made it vanish to his lab. Such a shame that you couldn't control the overwhelming power of the black trigger, said Naruto. You were strong enough to activate it and use it for a number of minutes. For that I commend you, Mizuki-sensei. A black trigger isn't something to fool with. If you knew how to truly control a black trigger or had the chakra to use it, then I would have been worried. However, you failed to realize one thing. Chakra is constantly used to maintain a trigger. Several seals are needed to a trigger to function. Chakra absorption, shape manipulation, elemental manipulation, chakra redirection barrier, and over 40 other seals that are needed for a trigger to function. And that is for a normal trigger. A black trigger is so much more, said Naruto. As I said, Mizuki, you have reached your limits with triggers, whereas I am a master of triggers. Mizuki fell to the ground with his eyes rolling into the back of his head. Naruto turned to walk away as a unit of ANBU appeared with Minato. Naruto looked at his father with a smile. Hey, Two-san. What kept you? Said Naruto. Location, Konoha. Training Ground 87. 0830. The three genin stood across from the seasoned jonin who had a lazy smile with his eye. Kakashi looked at the three genin before him before walking up to the training logs before pulling a clock out. He set the clock down, before turning to the genin. This clock is set for noon. You have until then to get these from me, said Kakashi holding up a pair of bells. Bells? Asked Naruto. Correct. You have collect these from me, by any means necessary. Even if it means to kill me, said Kakashi. Sakura looked at the bells, before her eyes widened. But sensei, there are only 2 bells, said Sakura. Correct, meaning that only 2 of you will be genin. The other will return to the academy, said Kakashi. Before Kakashi could say anything else, he had to quickly pull a kunai and javelin thrust from Naruto. Grabbing Naruto's extended arm, throw the boy into the air, and felt a hard punch impact his shield. Thanks to Kakashi's honed skills, he could quickly bring a shield up on instinct alone. Turning, he put a foot into Sakura's gut, sending her rolling. Kakashi annihilated Sakura's trigger. It was just a shield covering her fist, but the amount of power it added to her attack was actually impressive. Sakura rolled past Sasuke, who was running though hand signs. Fire release, fireball jutsu, yelled Sasuke. Kakashi threw his kunai at the fireball. Sasuke's eyes widened as he noticed an explosive note wrapped around the kunai. Before it exploded, Sasuke threw himself on Sakura, shielding her from the majority of the explosion, but singeing his back slightly. Kakashi turned and blocked an overhead slash from Naruto by crossing 2 scorpion blades. Kakashi's eye widened as he saw bullets in Naruto's right hand. Before Kakashi could move away, Naruto unloaded every bullet he HSD at the jonin. Smoke rose off the body of Kakashi as he was blasted backwards by over 100 bullets. Kakashi jumped out of the smoke and looked at his vest. With the outer layer being made of Kevlar and the inner layer of Ninganium, it wasn't much of a starch for Kakashi to survive a weak attack, but seeing as Naruto's attack was powered with Uzumaki chakra, it was slightly stronger than normal. If I didn't activate my shield, I would have been injured. That was dirty, Naruto-kun, said Kakashi. Naruto swung his sword and held it at the ready. There's more where that came from, said Naruto, before jumping back and grabbing Sasuke and Sakura before vanishing. Kakashi sighed before sitting down. They're good enough to pass, but I want to see a bit more of their skill, said Kakashi, looking into the threes and not being able to locate them. Naruto, you've grown into quite the monster since that day. Flashback. 6 years ago. ANBU members CPT Dog, Raven, Serpent, Cat, and Bear all stood in the trees around the compound. Several months ago, the heir to the Uzumaki Namake's family was kidnapped. IWA and Kumo denied any part of what happened and even volunteered their own people to help look for the lost boy. After several months, a tip from IWA came to them saying that a spy of theirs managed to locate him in a manor that was said to belong to a private party. Minato, wanting to save his heir as that was all he was, decided to trade a few justu and land for the entail. Alright, you all know the drill, said Kakashi, removing his dog mask. Kill them all and find the person responsible for Naruto-kun's kidnapping, said Raven. Obtain all information in the manor, said Cat. Find Naruto-san and remove him as safely as possible, said Serpent. Burn the manor to the ground and leave no one alive, said Bear. Let's go, said Kakashi, putting his mask back on. What followed could only be called a slaughter, as over 100 mercenaries, 20 chunin, and the jonin in charge of security were completely and utterly destroyed by the ANBU. After combing the manor for information, they found their way to a basement lab. In the basement, they saw a tube full of red liquid, with a body floating inside. It was young Naruto with vacant eyes. In front of the tube was a man who looked like he was Frankenstein monster long lost, ugly as sin brother. Destroying the entire protection detail provided to me by not only Mr. Gato, but Orochimaru Gaki is quite the chore. If I was 40 years younger, I'd destroy you all, said the man, turning to them. Bear backed up slightly as he saw the man's orange eyes. A devilish red with fangs in his mouth. Bacho, S-ranked missing ninja from the defunct village of Balance, Said to specialize in sure-kill kenjutsu. Wanted in all 5 nations for kidnapping, human experimentation, escaping prison, and destroying most the village of Balance, said Bear. The old man chuckled. That was a long time ago. I've since began to understand that my life isn't worth a damn anymore. When Orochimaru provided me this boy and the true chakra sample, I was quite shocked. Such a wonderful gift from a fan. True chakra sample? Asked Serpent. Bacho looked at Serpent, making her back up when she saw his grin. Yes. One of the few remnants of a forgotten past that has fallen into myth and legend. In fact, had I been given anyone other than an Uzumaki, Uchiha, or Senju, they would have died. This boy, though, he is something else altogether, said Bacho. Everyone went to their swords, preparing to attack. It's over for you, said Kakashi. Bacho looked at them. I'm sorry, being over 80 years old, I still have a few things I would like to do before my death. This boy's growth I wish to see for myself before his death, said Bacho before running the hand signs. Move! Yelled Dog. Wind release, turbulent sword, said Bacho, unleashing a turbulent winds. Bear was hit in the chest, sending him to the ground, dead from cut that sliced to his heart in 4 pieces. Everyone else quickly recovered, only to see that Bacho was missing. Seeing nothing else, they went about the rest of their mission as planned. Securing Naruto, collecting information, and destroying the manor. It would be another year before Naruto awoke. Flashback end. Kakashi stopped pondering about that day as he looked at the time left. A little over 30 minutes. I guess I got lost on the road of life. With Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. Naruto took a sip from his canteen before throwing it to Sakura, who gulped down water. Passing it off to Sasuke, who polished it off, before wiping his mouth. What's our next play? Asked Sasuke. Even attacking together, we were no match for a jonin, said Sakura. Not true, said Naruto, making his comrades look at him. Twice he was forced into a corner. The fact that he didn't use his Sharingan or Black Trigger means that we didn't push him enough. What do you think? Asked Sakura, looking at Sasuke. Sasuke shrugged his shoulders. Let's let the brain decide. He's the one with all the information, said Sasuke. Naruto looked at his watch. We have a little over 20 minutes. If we start our attack now, we need to hit Kakashi from all vantage points, said Naruto as he pulled out 2 chips and handed one to Sasuke and the other to Sakura. What's this? Asked Sasuke as it fixed the chip into his trigger casing. It's a sniper trigger I designed. It's called Flakana. I managed to replicate the seals used in conventional triggers. However, it's yet to be tested. It might get off one good shot, it might get off multiple shots, or it might not fire at all, said Naruto, leaning back. Trigger on! Yelled Sasuke as a rifle appeared in his head. The main barrel was a diamond shape with a handle that modeled to the user's hand. The other is something else I created. It's a speed trigger, something that will allow your body to move at an incredible rate of speed. I call it slid. However, like Flakana, it has never been tested, said Naruto. So what's the plan? Asked Sakura. Naruto smirked. We take out Kakashi, said Naruto as he began to explain his plan to his teammates. With Kakashi. Kakashi looked at the clock. 10 minutes and then the test ends, said Kakashi, reading his book. Looking into the woods, he saw a flash as something hit his shoulder, cutting into it. Kakashi grabbed his shoulder in pain. Blood dripped between his finger as he scanned the area. He felt something behind him and quickly turned to block a punch from Sakura, only for her to vanish into thin air. Soon another one of those flash came out of nowhere and cut into his left leg. Sakura once again appeared and sent Kakashi flying with a punch to the jaw. Kakashi skidded across the ground, before looking up only to meet with Naruto, who had our javelin out and primed to strike. Raging Tiger! Yelled Naruto, thrusting the weapon out. Shooting from the tip was a beam of yellow-white energy. Kakashi's eye widened. He couldn't dodge and his shield couldn't tank such an attack. He had no choice. Grabbing the trigger hidden in his right pocket, he held it up. Black Trigger on! Yelled Kakashi. Appearing before Kakashi was a black floating ball. The energy was sucked into the ball and kept absorbing it. Naruto cut the energy and grabbed Sakura around her waist, before she could move in again, before running though hand signs. Uzumaki's ceiling style, anchor! Yelled Naruto as his chakra turned into chains and spike that held them down as the force of the black hole started to pull everything in. He also threw a chain to Sasuke, who wrapped it round his waist. What the hell is that? Asked Sakura, nearly wetting herself in terror as the ball began to grow. Kakashi Baka really activated his black trigger! Yelled Naruto as he planned to grab his own black trigger, only to stop as the black hole died down. Kakashi stood up with the black hole in his hand before it turned into a trigger again. Kakashi had a look in his eye that he hadn't had in a long time. Frustration. Not only was he forced to the brink of his skills without his Sharingan, but he was also forced to use his black trigger. A trigger that he was only able to use with 40% of its full power, in battle without it going out of control. Sasuke arrived in the area panting and seething heavily. The Falcona took a lot of energy out of him. Not only were the bullets made of chakra, but the firing speed, distance, and power needed chakra as well. He fell on his butt next to Naruto and Sakura, who was also on her last legs, since hers were burning up as Kakashi approached them. I have no idea what triggers those are, but they sure are impressive. I'll make this clear to you three. You passed my test with flying colors. Your skills need polishing, and you need to work on more than just your triggers, but overall you pass. Just remember this. It was something burned into my mind from my late teammates. Those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. Tomorrow morning we start mission starting at 0700, don't be late, said Kakashi, vanishing. What an asshole, said Sakura. Agreed. I'd better get home. Kawa-chan wants me to give a report to her and Tusan, said Sasuke as he began to leave. Same here, said Sakura. Alright, see you two tomorrow, said Naruto as the field emptied. Once alone, Naruto put his hand on his neck. 40%, huh? I thought after having Black Hole for almost 3 years he'd at least have it at 80%. Location: Uchiha District. Clan heads home. 1300. Sasuke walked into the home of the clan head and quickly smelled the scent of food coming from the kitchen. Walking towards the kitchen, he found his mother there along with his older sister. His mother was a beautiful woman. She stood at 5 feet 6 inches, bob-cut black hair, and slightly rounded face, eyes that were almost always closed, wearing a white shirt with the Uchiha family crest on the back, long red skirt that went past her knees, and finally a wedding band on her left hand. The girl was looked to be in her 20s, long black hair tied in a priestess ponytail, sharp black eyes, standing at the same height as their mother, with large C-cup friests. She wore a white jacket with a high collar that easily covered her ruby red lips and left the underside of her frieze bare. Were it not for the skin-tight black shirt she wore, white hakama pants that showed the fact that she didn't wear the standard undergarments that went with them, and shinobi sandals. Ka-chan, Rei-chan, I'm home, said Sasuke. Midoko stopped cooking and looked at her child. Welcome home, Sasuke-kun. You just missed Mikoto-chan, said Midoko. Sasuke took a seat at the table. Aunt Mikoto was here? Asked Sasuke. She was here only at the behest of Tusama, said Rei. Why would Tusan call her back? She was banished from the clan for not marrying him, correct? Asked Sasuke. Fugaku-chan is trying to make her reconsider and become his second wife, said Midoko with a smile. Sasuke looked at his mother and gave a grunt of disgust. In the past, it wasn't uncommon for a clan leader to take more than one wife. Apparently his father wanted a set of twins to be his wives. Once his mother and Aunt Mikoto had been part of the most feared only women sold the Triforce of Konoha ever. Trained by Tsunade Senju, it was Uchiha Mitoko, Uzumaki Kushina, and Uchiha Midoko. Together they were a feared team that left many IWA ninja dead and dying. So Sasuke-chan, how did everything go? Asked Midoko, turning to her youngest. Location: Harino household. Same time. Sasuke walked into her house to see her mother chopping up some vegetables and putting them into a pot. Haruno Mizuki stood at 5 feet 4 inches, dark blonde hair, emerald green eyes, wearing a light gray shirt, a pair of skin-tight jeans that showed off her nice rounded ass, and a pair of high heels. Was once a Chunin-ranked police member. During Itachi's rampage that left many police members dead, Mizuki was one of only 6 officers that survived the incident, but because of a wound that was inflicted to her back she was forced to retire. "Ka-chan, I'm home," said Sakura as she went over to begin help her mother prepare dinner. Mizuki smiled at Sakura. "Thank you, Sakura-chan." "How was the exam?" asked Mizuki. Sakura smiled at her mother. "I passed with flying colors thanks to Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun," said Sakura, thinking about her teammates. Mizuki giggled. "On a team with nothing but boys. I hope I don't become a grandmother too soon," said the elder Haruno. Sakura blushed. "Baka-chan. I'll only marry a boy who is stronger than Tusan," said Sakura. "Which is never going to happen," said Kazashi, walking into the kitchen, before sitting at the table. "Welcome home, dear. Is everything okay?" asked Mizuki. "Yes. Just have to get the next round of village and board patrols ready," said Kazashi. "Is it that time already?" asked Mizuki. "Hi. I also have to prepare for a trip to Wood Country and negotiate a new trade agreement," said Kazashi. "I see, well, good luck," said Mizuki. Sakura looked at her mother and father, and thought that life couldn't get much better than this. Location: Uzumaki Namikaze Manor. Same time. Naruto walked into his home and looked in the living room to find his mother sitting there with his sister and Mikoto. They were all looking at the newest clothes catalog. Naruto walked over and joined them. "Yo!" said Naruto, making all 3 jump as they looked at the young man. "When did you get in, Naruto-kun?" asked Kushina, pointing a shaking finger at Naruto. "Just a minute ago," Naruto deadpanned. "Baka Oniai-sama," said Kasumi. "So what are you doing now, Naruto-sama?" asked Mikoto. Naruto leaned back in his chair. "Nothing really. I could go train, but I'm beat after what happened with Kakashi Baka. Kakashi is no joke, especially with his black trigger," said Naruto, rolling his neck. All 3 girls looked at Naruto, before getting in his face. "What?" yelled the 3 women of the Uzumaki Namikaze household. Location: Hokage Tower. Minato's office. 1500. Minato looked at Kakashi, who was rubbing the back of his head. "So you used an S-rank trigger on not only the heirs of the Uchiha and Haruno clans, but my own son as well, Kakashi?" asked the irate Kage. "In my defense, I would have died if I didn't," said Kakashi. Minato slammed his hand on his desk. "That's a damn excuse, and you know it is. There is no way in hell 3 fresh out of the academy genin forced a veteran of the 3rd Shinobi War to use a S-ranked weapon in a test battle," said Minato. Kakashi looked at his former sensei. "It wasn't even just that," said Kakashi. "What do you mean?" asked Minato. "The Uchiha was hitting me from outside of my sensor range. As you well know, I'm not a sensor ninja, but I have trained myself to feel the chakra of others. My range is only 60 feet, but Sasuke Uchiha was outside that range and hitting me. Haruno Sakura was able to hit me and then outspeed me before I even could figure what was happening. If I didn't know any better, I would say she was using the Hiraishin Jutsu to move around the field," said the elite Jonin. Minato looked at his former student. "You've got my attention," said Minato. Location: Training Ground 87. Bridge leading to Training Ground. 0730. Naruto read the data on the triggers he gave to Sasuke and Sakura as they spared against each other. Even though Sakura was outspeeding the bullets that Sasuke fired, she was putting tremendous strain on her legs, hips, and feet. Naruto recorded the finding, before calling them to a stop. Sakura stopped and fell to her knees. "I can't move my legs," panted the rosette-haired girl. Naruto bent down and began to massage Sakura's thighs and calves, making her blush. Sakura had never allowed a boy to be this close to her. She knew that he was helping her, but still all the blood was rushing to her face as the handsome boy was so close to hers. Not surprising, though. You're really just using the trigger and keeping it constantly on. While you have the fine-toned chakra control to do so, your muscles are suffering because you're not strong enough to use it like that. You can use it for a minimum of 8 seconds before needing to stop and allow time to rest. Any more and you run the risk of damaging your legs," said Naruto as he finished up with Sakura's legs. Sakura nodded in understanding. The shortest time she had used slid for was 20 seconds. She knew that she didn't have as much chakra as Naruto or even Sasuke, but she was still able to fight on their level thanks to slid. She would do her best to make it her own. Naruto rounded on Sasuke. "Flakana is a good long-range trigger, but not for you. You can hold onto it for later use, but your scorpion trigger is best suited to your fighting style," said Naruto. "What about you, Dobe?" asked Sasuke. "The way you used that sword when fighting Kakashi was unexpected. I didn't even know you knew how to use something so cumbersome." Sasuke-kun is right. The R-Javelin makes use of a more Western sword design, with the blade being 40 inches long, and the handle being 28 inches long. Even most jonin steer clear of that weapon. You, on the other hand, handle it like a pro," said Sakura. Naruto smiled. "That's because I took the time to learn the hidden abilities of the javelin," said Naruto. Before Sasuke or Sakura could ask what he meant, Kakashi appeared and set them on team-building drills for the rest of the morning. Around 12:30 they broke for lunch, going to a popular spot that doubled as a jonin hangout. Stopping inside, they quickly ordered their lunch before taking a seat at an empty table and eating in silence for a little while. Once finished, they made their way to the mission office at the base of Hokage Tower. Inside of the mission room was the Hokage and the academy instructors who had little to do between graduation and the next school year. Kakashi stepped to Minato and bowed. "Team 7 requesting a mission, Hokage-sama," said Kakashi. Minato nodded before looking through the pile. "Nothing too hard today. Inuzukas need help taking care of a few newborn pups," said Minato. And thus began the worst part of all ninja careers. The D-ranked missions. Training Ground 87. Team 7 team meeting. The next few months passed in a blur of activity for the members of Team 7. Spar with each other before Kakashi arrived, train in team skills, do 2 or 3 missions a day. Wash, rinse, repeat. Today was no exception, as we find our heroes at their team grounds sparring. Sakura appeared before Naruto, throwing out a right hook. Naruto stopped the attack before throwing Sakura at Sasuke. Sasuke charged at Sakura and attacked her with his scorpion blades, only for Sakura to turn her gloves into a shield blocking the attack, before she used a burst of pure speed to vanish and reappear behind Sasuke with a Kogetsu blade. Before the blade could connect, Naruto appeared with hands full of bullets and shot both Sasuke and Sakura away from each other. Sasuke used his blades to stab into the ground, stopping himself before switching to Flakana, before shouting at Naruto. Naruto jumped backwards and was cut in the cheek. As the blood dripped down Naruto's face, he couldn't help but to smile. Sasuke and Sakura proved to be great allies and friends to him. While in the beginning they hesitated to hurt him, but quickly realized that Naruto hated that. Now all three were so much stronger than they were before. "That's enough," said Naruto, making Sasuke and Sakura deactivate their triggers. Over the last 6 months things had changed with the members of Team 7. Sakura went from her 8-second limit with slid to almost a full minute, even faster than Naruto and Sasuke, who were both holding at 30 seconds with the same trigger. She also now used a more brutal form of taijutsu. Instead of pure punching and kicking, she added grappling into the mix, and was intent to break limbs. She also no longer used scorpion blades, but changed to using just the shield function and thrust that had been introduced to the ranks 5 months ago, as well as the asteroid. She also used Kogetsu blades. Sasuke had become akin to a monster with his Flakana, but truly only used it when he could get away with using such attacks. He also moved on to the more advanced Uchiha attacks. He was now capable of using dragon missiles and phoenix flowers. He also became pretty well-rounded and used his shield more than anyone else. Naruto hadn't changed much in the last 6 months. He was much closer to his comrades now. He also was much better equipped to handle outside threats with triggers. Despite once being the dobe of the class, he could now fight with both Sasuke and Sakura without breaking a sweat and just using our javelin. However, as the director, things were advancing at an alarming rate. His pet project as of recent had been a complete and utter success. He was able to create 3 2-meter humanoids with a bulky build, with wide shoulders and large arms with 3 fingers and no thumbs, and also short but thick legs which end on long 2-toed feet. It has a long neck ending in a head roughly resembling a rabbit head, hence its name. The interior of its mouth is black and it has a green eye inside. It also has black stripes running through its shoulders until its hands, with black shield-like shapes in the sides of its shoulders, and the sides of its torso are also black. It also has a lizard-like tail, a gold modal, a purple modal, and a blue modal. Each was made up of ninjism, but each was also semi-sentient. Each was a chakra warrior that had the power of an elite jonin. The prototype modals had easily been destroyed by IM and Mikoto with their black triggers. The fact they had been pushed so hard had pleased Naruto greatly. As a team, though, they were monsters. So far they were able to break down Kakashi and force him into surrendering to them every time. Of course, this is considering that he didn't use his black trigger, and instead relied solely on scorpion blades to handle his genin team. Sakura went into her bag and pulled out a water bottle before partaking of the sweet water inside. "So when do you think we'll get a real mission?" asked Sakura. Sasuke gulped down his own water, before wiping his mouth. "Don't know. We have completed a good amount of missions. Last I counted was 50-60 ranked mission," said Sasuke. 57 if you include teaching Konohamaru's class as subs that one day Irika-sensei was sick," said Naruto. As far as Team 7 were aware, they were the only team to not take a C-ranked mission so far. Team 8 delivered a scroll to a nearby village and encountered a mercenary group. Team 9 escorted a caravan to the borders of Earth County, and Team 10 helped recover a valuable artifact for the banking clans. That just left their team. "I'm ready for dome action," said Naruto. "I know what you mean," said Sasuke, examining Flakana. He had modified it to fire flaming bullets. "Maybe Hokage-sama will get us a mission soon," said Sakura. Naruto highly doubted it. His Ka-chan had his Tusan pussy whipped. He was a dog without his fangs when it came to Kushina. After his coma, Kushina had been adamant about pulling him from the ninja program and making his a political figure within Konoha. He had been able to convince her that he would be able to survive the trials to become a genin. Naruto came out of his thoughts when Kakashi arrived. Location: Konoha. Emerald Leaf Restaurant. 1800. Akira was very annoyed at the moment. Today was the day of the month that she had to go on a date with her betrothed. Ever since they were announced to be wed on their 19th birthdays, their parents had insisted that they go out at least once a month. The Emerald Leaf was one of the 3 most revered upper-class restaurants in Konoha, right next to the Burning Leaf and the Golden Tree. Since both Tsunade and Kushina trusted their children, they allowed them to be alone. Akira wore a diamond blue kimono. Her hair was up in a ponytail off-side to the right, a light shade of pink lip gloss, and pink blush. Naruto wore a black long-sleeve shirt, white slacks, and boots. On his chair was a white jacket. His hair was also slicked back. "This is lovely, isn't it?" asked Akira, looking over the menu. Naruto sat his menu down. "Akira, please, we both know that you don't want to be here and I don't want to be here," said Naruto. "If I am to wed you soon, I will at least make the best of it," said Akira as she ordered for both of them. Naruto sighed as he allowed his eyes to gaze over the entire restaurant. A fair few people were giving looks of envy to both Naruto and Akira. Many women wished to be in Akira's position and vice versa for the men with Naruto. They were called the next power couple of Konoha. Within Konoha's long history, there had only been 3 power couples. Senju Hashirama and Senju Uzumaki Mito, Naruto's distant cousin and a member of the Uzumaki Defender branch family, were the first power couple of Konoha. The title was well deserved, seeing as how they had defeated all of the tailed beasts. It also helped that Mito had helped end the rivalry between Madara and Hashirama. Senju Tsunade and Kaito Dan were the second power couple in Konoha's history. They became a power couple in the early stages of the Third Shinobi War. with Tsunade being one of the 3 Sannin and Dan being considered a pseudo-Sannin. Tsunade was known by her moniker as the Slug Princess and revolutionized the village's offensive capabilities with the medical corps, while Dan was a commander on the front lines and was known as the Silver Spirit General. They would shortly after and were called the Medical Queen and Spirit King. Namikaze Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato were the third and current power couple. Kushina, as she was a member of the Uzumaki royal bloodline, a Kenjutsu master and master of Uzumaki ninjutsu. She also was one of the strongest kunoichi of her generation. Minato was a SS-ranked shinobi who mastered and reinvented the second Hokage's Hiraishin no Jutsu to become one of the most feared shinobi in the world. If you would just leave the ranks and become a member of R&D, then I might have a bit more respect for you, said Akira. Naruto narrowed his eyes. I've been know this with my mother. I will not leave the shinobi ranks, not until people recognize that I'm not some fragile little boy, said Naruto. Akira sighed. I realize that you're not frail Uzumaki-kun, but you're not cut out for the shinobi ranks. You're good enough for the police force, but not for the front lines, said the Senju heiress. Naruto didn't bother to reply to her comment as they ordered their food and finished their meal in silence. Location: Naruto's lab. Next evening, Naruto, Tenten, and Mikoto sat at the controls of the combat room of Naruto's lab as Im stood across from her opponent. Her opponent stood at 5 feet 11 inches long, white hair pulled into a ponytail, green eyes. He wore a nose-sleeve navy blue zip-up vest with a high collar, dark blue loose-fitting jeans with his headband acting as a belt buckle, and shinobi sandals. In his hand was his regular trigger, or rather 2 of them. Sogetsu. A pair of curved knives. They were a special brand of attack trigger that was only given to those who proved that Kogetsu wasn't strong enough for them. This was Kentaro Haji. He was the specialist of Naruto's group. And by specialist that meant he was a powerhouse of a monster. And that was with a normal trigger. Im wore a pair of black skin-tight pants, a white shirt, and heel boots. In her hand was a Kogetsu blade, and around her calves were 3 bronze-colored rings with energy sparking from it every few seconds. This was her black trigger horizon legs. The trigger increased the power of her kicks almost 20-fold, but that wasn't the full extent of the trigger. It also allowed her to move at near Mach 4 levels of speed, as well as allows her to sustain herself in the air for a limited time. She also had several other abilities that she didn't let other people know about. So what is on the agenda for today, Uzumaki-san? Asked Haji. A simple no-holds-barred spar. You've been gone for a while, Haji. I need a full evaluation of your skills since the data is outdated, said Naruto. Try not to let Im-chan beat you to bad. Haji closed his eyes. Until I fulfill my dream, nothing is going to stop me, said Haji, taking his stance. Begin, said Naruto. Im didn't waste a second and was upon Haji with a powerful overhead kick. Haji brought his blades above him in a cross fashion, blocking the kick. Sparks flew off the 2 triggers as a crater was formed. Im vanished before appearing in the air. Haji glared at her, before jumping into the air and appearing to hang there. Both vanished and began to fight at high speeds. Tenten was tracking every move of Haji, while Mikoto was tracking Im. Haji-san is impressive as always. Holding his own against Im-chan is quite something, said Tenten. Considering that Haji is considered to be one of the strongest non-black trigger users in the village at only the young age of 17 and one of the village's strongest genin, that is borderline jonin level in strength alone, started Mikoto. Earned him the title of the monster genin, finished Naruto. Im was blasted backwards into a wall with her Kogetsu blade shattered. Haji looked at her with a yawn. He turned to Naruto and vanished, before appearing before him, only for Im to put a boot in his back and send him crashing into the ground with a cloud of dust blocking him from view. Im ran though hand signs. Black leg style, tempest kick! Yelled Im, swinging her leg and sending an arc of pure wind at the dust cloud. Haji jumped out as the arc of air cut into the ground, leaving a large cut into the ground. Haji kept moving as Im kept swinging arcs at him. Haji jumped into the air, before throwing both his weapons as Im kicked them away before flying at Haji. Haji pulled his fist back. Gatling gun! Yelled Haji, unleashing hundreds of asteroid bullets at Ayam. Ayam's eyes widened, before throwing out as many kicks to block as she could. Haji vanished and reappeared behind her, before planting a fist into her gut, before throwing her into the wall. Enough, Haji, said Naruto, making Haji stop. Why did you stop me? Asked Haji. The data you gave me indicates that you are one step closer to your goal. There is no need for you to continue this fight, said Naruto. Haji nodded before summoning his trigger and deactivating it. And here I didn't even have to use the black trigger you gave me, said the monster genin. The only reason I gave you that black trigger is because the others rejected you, said Naruto. Haji activated his gate trigger before leaving. Tenten helped Ayam to the infirmary. Naruto took a seat at his main desk and overlooked the data. Mikoto put her hands on Naruto's shoulders and began to knead the tension out of them. He's becoming quite the deadly one, isn't he, Naruto-sama? Asked Mikoto. If he can hold Ayam at only 83% of her full power, and he was going at 96% without his black trigger, then he might be able to defeat you soon, Mikoto-chan, said Naruto. Mikoto put her lips to Naruto's neck. Please, my lord. I am your greatest weapon, your constant. I will not allow anyone to surpass me, for if they do, then they have a clear shot at you, my lord, said Mikoto. Naruto put his hand on Mikoto's. Location: Namixi Uzumaki Manor. Kasumi's room. 2000. Kasumi lay on her bed and looked at the most recent picture of herself and her Inai-sama. It was taken during their graduation. She had her arms wrapped around him, while he gave a kind smile to her. A smile that she rarely got to see nowadays. Ni-sama, said Kasumi. Location: Hokage Tower. Mission room. Next day. Team 7 arrived at the mission room as they prepared to ask for a mission. Already a lot of missions had been handed out, as Kazashi worked the desk today. Team Hataki, we have a few D-ranked missions for you, said Kazashi, pulling up the files. Naruto frowned, before stepping forward. Haruno-san, I want to request a C-ranked mission, said Naruto, making Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke looking at him. Naruto, stated Kakashi, only for Naruto to ignore him. And what makes you think your team is ready? Asked Kazashi, glaring at Naruto. Naruto sighed. The Hidden Leaf Village Code of Mission states that once a genin team has completed a total of 8 D-ranked missions, then they are allowed to go on C-ranked missions, and by my count Team 7 has done nearly 8 times that number in our official mission records, said Naruto. To-san, yelled Sakura. Please, you have to allow us to do this. We are ninja, just like everyone else. Kazashi was quite annoyed at the moment. He knew the brat was right, but didn't want to admit it. He also didn't want his little girl in danger. Closing his eyes, he quickly reached his choice. He reached into the C-ranked mission pile and grabbed a scroll. A priestess by the name of Usagi has requested the assistance of the village to fulfill a ritual. It's Sunfire Village, north of the village, about a 2-day run, said Kazashi as he snapped his fingers. The door opened and all the members of Team 7 blushed, even Sakura. The woman who appeared to them was beautiful. She stood at 5 feet 10 inches with massive F-cup wrists, and a thin body, long blue hair and a Harem-style haircut, a Shrine Maiden robe, and sandals. This is the Shrine Maiden of Sunfire Village. Usagi-san, this is Team 7 led by Jonin Hataki Kakashi. You also have 3 of the village's most powerful genin protecting you. One is the son of the Hokage and arguably one of the best lead designs for our newest weapons, one the son the chief of police, and one my own daughter. You will be the most well-protected woman in the entire world until the mission is complete. Usagi bowed to Kazashi. Thank you, Kazashi-sama, said Usagi, before turning and smiling at the genin. Please do your best to protect me. The 3 genin nodded to the older woman. Hi, the 3 said together. We leave at dawn in the morning. Go prepare yourselves, said Kakashi. Naruto's lab. Later that night. Naruto had data up and a scanner running over a black trigger. While he was reluctant to use his black trigger, he knew that if worse came to worse, he'd have to use it. Besides that, he had access to the rabbit drones. "What are you doing?" asked Shinju, appearing behind Naruto. "Getting a substitute black trigger ready," said Naruto as he began to type. "Just in case I need to use IT." Shinju looked at Naruto. "I thought you would have used all your power by now," asked Shinju. "I don't plan on using my black trigger until absolutely necessary. I'd rather not rely on it if I can avoid it. After all, it was the first black trigger," said Naruto. "If I remember correctly, your eldest lover calls it the counter to all things," said Shinju. The scanner shut off as Naruto took the trigger and activated it. "This is an improved version of one of the black triggers I created and even improved upon. It's called," started Naruto. Next morning. North Gate. Naruto arrived at the gate with minutes to spare. He quickly pulled out 4 small glowing orbs, each the size of a yen coin. He tossed 2 then into the air. 2 blurs went past them and quickly snatched them out of the air. Sasuke and Sasuke looked at the devices in their hands. "What are these?" asked Sakura. Naruto tossed one behind him. "It's a device I created last night. It works similar to our normal comms, but instead of relying on electricity, they rely on our chakra to power them. They have a distance of 1,000 meters in any direction. With them we can communicate with our just a thought," said Naruto. "What about privacy?" asked Kakashi, walking up with Usagi behind him. "It has a function that switches to privacy mode easily. All you have to do is think privacy and it will auto-switch," said Naruto, putting his own in his ear. The others followed before issuing a diamond formation to his genin, before they stepped out of the village. Later that afternoon. Route to Sun Village. It was nearing 3 o'clock and already Usagi was becoming quite tired of the constant walking. Sure, they had stopped for lunch, but once they were finished they were on the move again. "Usagi-san, can you tell us about your duties as a shrine maiden?" asked Naruto. Usagi shook her. "Not at all, Uzumaki-kun," said Usagi. "It is one of the older religions in the Land of Fire. The fire monks and nuns are newer by about 500 years, but we still maintain a level of respect with each other." "What is it that you do exactly?" asked Sakura. "I act as not only the head of my sect, but also as the leader of my village. I also perform marriage ceremonies, spiritual cleansing, and dealings," said Usagi. "Sealing?" asked Sakura. "Hi. History is a little rough, but a long time ago there was something powerful that roamed the world," said Usagi. "She's taking about the God Tree, my original form, before my darkness broke away," said Shinju. Since she was in Naruto's head, no one else saw or heard her. "From time to time demons or spawn as they are known appear. Ninja villages get requests to deal with spawn, but the Sun Shrine priests and maidens are often called to seal them away. My spiritual power is higher than even the master of the shrine," said Usagi. "I thought you were the leader of your village?" asked Kakashi. "Hi, I am leader of the village as the strongest maiden. However, the master of the shrine is the person who has been at the temple the longest. Master Priestess Habara," said Usagi. "Duck!" yelled Sasuke, dragging Usagi to the ground as Naruto pushed Sakura as a large gale of wind appeared and sent Kakashi flying into a tree. Kakashi got up and glared at the direction the attack came from. He didn't even feel the chakra build up. Out of the shadows of the tree line stepped 3 enemies. All 3 dressed in a similar fashion, black off-shoulder robes, black face masks. The last thing the 3 had in common was that each one wore gold rings around their wrists. 3 enemies sighted. "Objective: protect Usagi and eliminate targets," said Sakura. All 3 genin drew their triggers and activated their respective blades. All 3 quickly broke off and engaged their respective opponents while Kakashi jumped in front of Usagi to guard her. "Damn rookies! Leaving a client unguarded is an amateur mistake. I'll have to talk with them about that," said Kakashi. With Sakura. Sakura's opponent was the smallest of the 3 and the only girl, but that didn't make her any less dangerous than the others. The woman jumped back, forming hand signs as she did so. "Water release! Water bullet just to!" yelled the woman, firing 3 bullets at Sakura. Sakura stopped and put both hands on her side before thrusting her blade forward. Shadow step slash! Yelled Sakura as she vanished and reappeared behind the woman, blood dripping from her weapon. The woman fell to the ground clutching her missing left leg. You bitch, I'll fucking kill you and your family! Yelled the woman. Sakura put the blade to the woman's throat. Did you know that a ninja's first kill is done in the academy? Asked Sakura to the sobbing woman. We are given a pet. Rabbit, gopher, hamster, and on rare occasions a dog or cat. After a year of bonding, playing, and befriending the animal, we kill it. However, killing a pet you love and a human being are two different things. Before the woman could respond, Sakura slit her throat. As the life drained from the woman's eyes, the last thing she saw was Sakura vomiting. With Sasuke. Sasuke moved backwards in the trees, avoiding his opponent. His was probably the largest, but had the least amount of chakra, but was a taijutsu expert. Sasuke found his back against a tree as the man pulled his two fists back. Jackhammer fist! Yelled the man, unleashing nearly 100 punches in a few seconds, turning the tree to dust. Not bad, boy. Not many people could hope to escape my fists. Even in Uchiha. Sasuke looked at the man from a tree. So you think you're on the same level as me? This is going to be interesting, said Sasuke as he jumped above his enemy. Jackhammer fist! Yelled the man, throwing hundreds of punches into the air at the falling Uchiha. Sorry, but you had the misfortune of fighting me. Sasuke created blades on his arms, feet, and back, before he caught on fire. Fire release, flame blade wheel! Yelled Sasuke. The falling wheel of flames cut into the man, not only cutting into his body, but burning him alive. Sasuke rolled out of the flaming wheel as he looked at the corpse of the man. Sasuke looked at it. This isn't even close to that day, said Sasuke. With Naruto. Naruto stood across from his opponent with our javelin on his shoulder. Tell me who is behind this attack and I promise to spare your life, said Naruto. The warrior didn't bother to replay as he vanished and reappeared in front of Naruto, hand size forming. Naruto narrowed his eyes, before cutting said hands off. The warrior fell to the ground screaming, before his head was removed from his body. As is such a weak trick would work on someone like me, said Naruto before returning to the group. Sasuke and Sakura were already there. Once Naruto was in front of Kakashi, all three were instantly hit by Ki. All three fell to their knees as the weight of Kakashi's anger crashed down upon them. Usagi fell to her knees, her hands around her throat as she struggled to catch her breath. What the hell were you three thinking? Asked Kakashi. Never leave a client alone, expectantly in a battle zone. There were 3 enemies and 4 of us, said Sasuke, crossing his arms. Never assume that what you see is the truth, Sasuke. Look underneath the underneath at all times. What if there had been a platoon of shinobi waiting for us? Asked Kakashi. We'd all either be dead, the client would be dead, or worse, said Naruto, sighing at how they had overlooked something so obvious. Then what are we supposed to do, sensei? Asked Sakura. Always look forward by a few steps, always see the path that is unseen, said Kakashi, before turning to Usagi. Now why were they after you, Usagi-san? Usagi slowly stood and leaned against a tree. Sweat dripped from her brow. I don't know. Recently I was invited to a conference with the heads of the Fire Monk Temple. They recommended that I hire some shinobi from the Hidden Leaf Village as escorts back. I have no idea why anyone would want to attack me, said Usagi. Kakashi sighed in annoyance. Those were genin-ranked threats at best. We could possibly be facing Chunin, or even Jonin-level shinobi here, said Kakashi. We can handle it, said Naruto, making Kakashi look at him. Each of us is a mid-Chunin in at least skill or power. Put your faith in us and we will complete this mission. Kakashi rubbed his head, before looking into the eyes. Well, I guess I have no choice. Usagi-san, we will complete our contract with you, said Kakashi, making the woman bow to them. The group moved on, unaware of the raven that looked at them from above. Location: outskirts of Sun Village. Rundown shack. 3 people sat in the abandoned area they had been provided by their patron. One was in a corner just having his way with what appeared to be a young woman, brutalizing her in all ways that would have made convicted criminals sick. Another was feeling his gut with raw meat, and the last one was sipping wine, ignoring the cries of the young woman, before he heard a sick creak. The man who had done such a terrible thing laughed, before stepping out of the shadows. He was huge, at nearly 6 feet 10 inches, and muscle on top of muscle, long gray hair, fangs protruding from his mouth, black eyes. He wore a pair of loose gray pants. He was Bear, former Chunin from the village hidden in the stone. The last member of the group turned to her comrade. "Must you be so crude and vicious with your toys, Bear?" asked the woman. The woman stood at 5 feet 6 inches, long purple hair, with 3 braids on the left side, skin-tight black shirt, a white kimono top, black hakama pants, and heeled boots, purple fingernails that were nearly an inch long. This was Madoka of the Poison, one of the enforcers for the Shinobi mercenaries. He let out a laugh of pure malice. "If it wasn't for your position in the mercenaries, I would have already had my fun with you, Madoka-chan," said Bear as he allowed his longer-than-average tongue to fall out of his mouth. Madoka looked at Bear. "The day you try is the day you die. Many our female comrades express fear of you, Bear-san. The only reason Bacho-sama keeps you around is because you're an effective tool. Nothing more, nothing less," said Madoka. "Do you want to see my tool, little girl? I'm sure I could give you a good time," said Bear, inching closer to Madoka. "Enough," said the last member, making both Bear and Madoka freeze before turning to him. The leader of this operation stood tall, at 6 feet 1 inch, long red hair pulled into a ponytail and a sharp face, with blazing red eyes. He wore a blue turtleneck, navy blazer, loose slacks, and the shinobi version of loafers. This was Uzumaki Junburo, one of the Shinobi mercenaries' 7 warlords. "Bacho-sama handed us this mission, and I don't intend to fail," said Junburo. "Hi, Junburo-sama," said Madoka and Bear at the same time bowing to the young man. "All we need is the head priestess to unlock the seal, and we can acquire the blood of the demon viper," said Junburo. "Why is Bacho-sama going after sealed demons, Junburo-san?" asked Madoka. Junburo shrugged his shoulders. "Who knows? All I know is that he's preparing to go to war. Or at least that's all the warlords know," said Junburo. What Junburo was holding back from his 2 subordinates was that all 7 warlords were currently hunting for the 12 that rivaled the 9. A member of the platoon that they had come with them appeared before Junburo. "Junburo-sama, I have news for you," said the man. "What is it?" asked Junburo. "The 3 that guard the south path have been killed," said the man. The 3 leaders of the operation turned to the man, making him nearly shit himself in fear. Between the 3 of them was close to 500 kills, half of those belonging to Junburo, and the most devastation belonging to Bear. Together the 3 of them racked up an impressive nationwide bounty of 170 million ryo. "Speak," said Bear. "Hi, Bear-sama. Reports say that it was a group from Konoha. They are guarding the target. An Uchiha, a Haruno, and a young man who looks to be an Uzumaki. Leading them is Sharingan no Kakashi," said the man. Bear and Madoka turned to Junburo as he sat down. "I see. How long before the seal is fully uncovered? Also, how long before they enter the rocky fields?" asked Junburo. "At least a day, until we finish tunneling into the altar of the Viper Demon. Even if we do, we still need the priestess to unlock it, Junburo-sama. As for the shinobi, they have slowed their pace and will arrive by late tomorrow. Once inside of the compound's barriers, we may not be able to reach them," said the man. Junburo smirked. "Very well. Bear, Madoka, go after them in the rocky fields. Capture the priestess. Capture the Uzumaki if you can," said Junburo. "Why is that, Junburo-sama?" asked Madoka, looking at the warlord. Junburo reached into his jacket and pulled out a hilt as the air became dry. "Even if we are enemies on the field, while I would like nothing more than to fight a fellow Uzumaki, Bacho-sama's operations are too important. Aside from that, if this boy is her son, then if he dies, we're looking at a clash that would undo 5 years of hard work," said Junburo. Location: Rocky Field. Next morning, Team 7 was on high alert at the behest of their Jonin instructor. Usagi walked closer next to Sakura. Naruto and Sasuke were closer up to the front, while Kakashi kept to the rear. Naruto stopped and held up his fist, signaling the others to stop. Naruto pulled his trigger and summoned several bullets, before firing them in arcs into the larger rocks. Two figures jumped out of the rocks and landed on the ground before them. Kakashi's eyes widened before he summoned his scorpion blades, only instead of the normal dagger-like ones that he normally used, these like this only if he was in an intense fight. Reaching up, he moved his headband out of the way, allowing his Sharingan free. Oh look, Sharingan no Kakashi! And he's using his Sharingan right off the bat. This will be interesting, said Madoka as her nails extended to become 7-inch claws. Bear laughed. I don't care about that. I'm looking forward to having my way with the pink-haired girl. Her hair is so exotic. Cha ha ha ha. I'm getting hard thinking about taking her for a ride. Sakura shivered as she heard what the large man planned to do to her. She had been to the classes on seduction and such and even heard the horror stories. One of her former senseis who fought in the Third War had been captured and become a toy for her captures for almost a year, before a raiding party from the joined forces of Konoha, Suna, and Waterfall banded together to destroy the fortress, and even then they didn't even realize she was there, until they were looking for spoils of war. It was a fear all Kunoichi had, and if it ever fell upon Sakura, she'd end her own life. Naruto, Sasuke, take Bear. Be careful. He may only be a chunin in rank, but he's a B-rank threat, said Kakashi. Hi sensei, said Naruto and Sasuke as they summoned their triggers. Sasuke, can you hear me? Asked Naruto with the communication trigger. I can. What is it? Asked Sasuke, never taking his eyes off his seemingly crazy opponent. This is going to be different than when we practice. If we hesitate for even a second, thought Naruto. Then we're as good as dead, thought Sasuke. And Sakura suffers a fate worse than that, thought Naruto to himself. Kakashi versus Madoka. One thing, Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, said Kakashi as he charged at Madoka and slashed into the ground. Try not to die and embrace me. Madoka moved backwards before running though hand signs. Poison release, toxic bombs, yelled Madoka, firing several fist-sized bombs of sludge at Kakashi. Kakashi spun his blades, destroying the balls, but stopped when he noticed that they were corroding the blades away. Kakashi released his blades, before forming new blades. Not wasting a second, Kakashi used his full speed and charged in. Once he was upon Madoka, they began to clash. Madoka's nails were not just for show. They possessed the same corrosive property as her jutsu. Kakashi flipped above her and stabbed downwards. He stabbed her in the head. He jumped away, leaving his blade as she exploded into liquid purple poison. A poison clone, said Kakashi as he jumped backwards as green bullets pelted his former space. Not many people have ever been able to survive my poison claws and poison clones. You're as good as they say, Kakashi-san, said Madoka, smirking as she sat in a tree. Kakashi looked at the woman. Madoka of the poison. That could only mean that this is the work of the Shinobi mercenaries, said Kakashi. Madoka looked at Kakashi. Oh, you've heard of us, said Madoka. Kinda hard not to when the SMC are wanted in all the major counties as terrorists, said Kakashi. We like to think of ourselves as revolutionaries, said Madoka, running though hand signs. Poison release, acid rain, yelled Madoka, spitting out a green cloud forming above her and Kakashi. The rain began to pour down and, only it was green and seemed to burn though Kakashi's shields. Kakashi allowed his triggers to fade before going to his black trigger, only to freeze up. He focused on Madoka only to have his eyes go in and out of focus. He fell to his knees. Beautiful, isn't it? Asked Madoka as she slowly walked up to Kakashi. Poison isn't just a color or a form, it can be colorless, tasteless, unnoticeable to anyone, but the person who uses it. The clear smog, a passive jutsu that I slowly release as the battle goes on. You lost without me ever needing to do anything. Kakashi fell over into the land of dreams. With Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke took up positions before moving at high speeds. Even without their triggers, both young men moved pretty fast. Naruto appeared before Bear first with his blade fully drawn back. Raging Bull, yelled Naruto, thrusting his blade forward. Bear jumped backwards, avoiding the land-destroying attack, only to find himself hit with several flaming bullets from Sasuke from behind, turning to the Uchiha charging in blades pulled back. Growling in the back of his throat, Bear pulled back his fist as his skin became iron-colored. "Iron Jackhammer!" yelled Bear as he unloaded 1,000 punches. Sasuke's shield didn't even hold up to 100 of those punches, before his shield broke, sensing him into a boulder. Sasuke looked up from the boulder, bleeding from his mouth and above his right eye. The guy he faces the other day used a slimier attack, but this was another scale altogether. "If you faced the man from the other day, then you understand the power of the jackhammer. The iron jackhammer is 1,000 times stronger," yelled Bear with a smirk. Sasuke chuckled. "It is stronger, but you're forgetting something," said Sasuke, making Bear look at him confused. "While you have power, I have my friend watching my back." Bear turned almost too late and managed to jump away, but not without losing his eye. He looked at the other boy he was fighting as he charged him, making one-handed seals. Bear made his own seals. "Hurricane Asteroid!" yelled Naruto, firing wind-enhanced bullets from his left palm. "Iron Body!" yelled Bear as his body turned to iron as the bullets impacted him. Oh, he felt each hit, but because of the iron surrounding his body, the damage was less than half. As the bullets became less, he turned off his ability and moved swiftly away from the intimidate danger zone. Bear may not look like it, but he didn't survive 10 years as a shinobi because he was a fool. No, his battle lust bleed over to the insistent that he refused to put in check. This was the first time in a long time that he had to stop holding back. Bear began to laugh. He laughed loud as his eyes took a devilish tint, and his skin began to burn red, before he vanished and appeared before Naruto. "Iron Hammer!" yelled Bear, throwing out a punch. Naruto felt his world shatter as he spit up blood as he sailed across the ground and rolled, before flying through 2 rocks. Sasuke appeared in front of Bear. "Fire release, flamethrower!" yelled Sasuke, breathing out a stream of flames. Bear grabbed Sasuke by the face, stopping the attack, before he began to punch Sasuke with many punches. Each punch brought the Uchiha closer to death. At least he was, until Naruto appeared and thrust our javelin. The massive lance-like sword shattered on impact. Bear grabbed Naruto by his throat and started to squeeze. Naruto started to black out. "You haven't killed them yet?" asked Madoka as she dragged a prone Kakashi behind her. "So they forced your hand, huh? Remember to keep the Uzumaki alive, or we'll have to deal with Junburo-sama." "Quiet, woman! Junburo-sama may have made you off limits for my pleasure, but if you piss me off, I'll kill you too," said Bear as he focused on the task at hand. Shinju appeared beside Naruto. "Do you wish me to activate your sub-black trigger?" asked Shinju. Before Naruto could respond, a yell resounded across the field. "Stop!" yelled Sakura. Both Madoka and Bear looked at Sakura. "Oh? And why should we stop? All I have to do is kill and we won as it is," said Bear. Sakura summoned her Kogetsu blade and pointed it at Usagi, making her gasp and the 2 warriors look at her. "I can only wager that you need her alive. So here's the deal. If you allow my friends to live, I'll willingly come with you, but if they die, I take this woman's life and then my own, stopping you from completing your duty," said Sakura. "That's quite brave of you, girl," said Junburo as he appeared between Bear and Madoka. "Unfortunately, you're also right. I do need her alive and I can't have you killing her." "Very well then. Under International Shinobi Law 57, I accept the terms of your agreement. As an added bonus, I will not allow Bear to touch you." Bear growled, before throwing both Naruto and Sasuke. "Now wait just a damn minute, Junburo-sama. That girl is mine!" yelled Bear. Junburo swiftly drew something, before he had a blue sword in his hand and slashed through Bear's iron body. Bear fell to the ground holding his now bleeding chest. "Normally I wouldn't give a damn about how many women you fate or kill, but with us being so close to completion of our objective, we can't afford any screw-ups. Until we free the blood of the demon viper, we can't harm either of them. Who knows what the Shrine Maiden will do if the girl is harmed in any way," said Junburo. Bear growled, before he marched over to Sakura. I don't mind waiting a bit. In only a day or two, I'll destroy your sweet little body," said Bear, before punching Sakura, knocking her out. Inside of Naruto's mind, Naruto awoke and looked around. The library-like room that housed several doors, this was the innermost sanctum of his mind. He couldn't contain his frown. "Before I even got a chance to activate the black trigger, I was defeated. I didn't think with Sasuke and I it would be needed," said Naruto, sitting up. "How could I have been foolish enough to let my guard down like that? It shouldn't have been had you known their full capabilities," said Shinji, drinking from a teacup. "What is going on outside?" asked Naruto. "Currently you, the Uchiha kid, and your sensei are all in an area filled with a powerful gas that is keeping you asleep, even against your body's natural actions," said Shinji. "I'm currently mixing it slowly into your blood so your Uzumaki blood can counter it. You should be awake in an hour or so." "What about Sasuke and Hatake?" asked Naruto. "They will stay asleep until the area is vented." "What are my chances of winning without my real black trigger?" asked Naruto. "Without it you have a 2% with fatal results. With it you have a 40% chance of victory should you fight the woman and the user of iron. The other Uzumaki is an unknown," said Shinji. Naruto sighed. "I guess I have to call Mikoto-chan," said Naruto as he went into a meditative position. Location: Konoha. Namikaze Uzumaki Manor. Same time. Mikoto was inside of her room reading a book when she felt a jot as her eyes gained a blue tint. She looked up and saw an astral form of her mother in front of her. Standing up, she bowed. "Naruto-sama, why are you contacting me? Is everything well?" asked Mikoto. "No. Currently my body is fighting a powerful chemical agent that is keeping me out of the fight. I'll be up in an hour. I'm more worried about Haruno-san. She was taken by Bear of the Stone," said Naruto. Mikoto shivered hearing his name. She had fought him once, and nearly lost were it not for Kushina and Minato showing up and saving her. "What is it you need me to do, my master?" asked Mikoto. "I'm ordering you to bring a squad of rabbits. Make sure to have Rabbit with them. He will be needed to fight Madoka of the poison. Make sure to bring your black trigger," said Naruto as he vanished. Mikoto let out a smirk as she created a portal to the lab. Her master had need for her in combat. She planned on doing everything in her power to please her master. Location: outskirts of the Sun Village. Room of Bear. A day later. Sakura sat in the bed with heavy chains on and only wearing her black shorts and sports bra. Female members of the SMs had been ordered to strip her and escort her to a room by Bear. Many of them gave her looks of sympathy, but didn't hide the fact that they were relieved about not being his next meal. A bunch of scared little sheep, if you asked Sakura. Sakura looked around the room hoping to find a weapon, but it did no good. The room was bare, except for the bed. Sakura sighed, before reaching up and into her long hair. She felt around for a second, but stopped when the door opened. Quickly putting her hands on her knees, she glared at the door as Bear walked into the room with a smirk on his face. "You taste exquisite. If only I could have you right now, but orders from that damn Uzumaki forbid it until the operation is complete," said Bear, removing his hands and himself from the bed. Sakura looked at him. "What operation?" asked Sakura, hoping to get any information on what they were up to. "Every few years an eclipse happens in this region of Fire County. It may only be for 12 minutes, but in that time frame we must secure the blood of the viper," said Bear. "Blood of the viper?" asked Sakura, looking at him as if he was crazy. "Yes. The blood of the viper is one of the 12 high demons' remains that can rival the 9 Buji in power alone. Once they commanded legions of demons and had enough power to bring the world to its knees. Bacho-sama has promised his 7 warlords and 4 of his elite warriors a chance to become the rulers of a perfect world," yelled Bear, before forcing Sakura to the bed and staring into her eyes. "A world where I can have any woman I want at any time I want." "You're crazy," said the pinkette, shaking in fear. Bear didn't respond, but brought his lips to Sakura. Sakura's eyes widened as tears began to develop in her eyes. Her first kiss was just stolen by this monster. She started to struggle, but stopped as she felt his hardness inside of his pants. Bear reached his hand down and ripped away Sakura's shorts. Sakura began shaking like a leaf. This was the one moment in her life she had wanted to be perfect, but now it was about to be taken away from her. Sakura let out a scream. "Water release! 7 snakes!" yelled a voice. 7 high-speed water snakes slammed into Bear, sending him flying into the wall. Sakura turned her head as Bear got off the wall and glared at Junburo. Junburo had his sword in his hand at the ready. Bear knew that he had crossed the line as the blade was glowing along with his eyes. "I thought I told you not to touch the girl until the ceremony is over?" said Junburo, his eyes closed, but his sword at the low ready. Bear smirked at the warlord. "I couldn't help myself, Junburo-sama. She was just such a tease to me," said Bear with a smirk. "And you know how much I hate teasing myself." Junburo looked at the shaking Sakura. "If it makes you feel any better, I'd rather not see or know about what this animal does in his free time, but he is an evil that we of the Shinobi mercenaries need," said the Uzumaki, before turning to Bear. "Until the ceremony is over, I don't want you anywhere near this room." Bear followed after Junburo, closing the door. Sakura sat up and reached her shaking hands up and removed a bobby pin from her hair. She inserted it into the lock and began to pick it and began to work the lock. She was going to leave this place with her virginity intact, be it dead or alive. Location: abandoned manor. Dungeon. Same times. Naruto opened his eyes and sat up slowly. His head was pounding and he was in a bad way. Looking around, he saw Sasuke and Kakashi across from him knocked out. His chakra was alright, but he was still groggy. "Wind release, Fujin!" yelled Naruto, consisting wind into the palm of his hand before making a dagger. Slashing twice, he easy cut the bars. He summoned his director coat, but left the mask off. A portal opened behind him, and out walked Mikoto wearing her full attire as his assistant, right down to the hair and mask. Following her was the requested rabbits as well as the Rabbit walked forward. "Master! As requested, I brought the rabbits," said Mikoto, bowing to Naruto. Naruto drew his black trigger. "Time for round 2. Black trigger on!" yelled Naruto as an explosion of power came out of the trigger. Location: Seal of the Viper. Ceremony circle. Usagi stood at the altar chanting silently with several mercenaries surrounding her and the main 3 standing behind her. While she didn't want to release the seal on the blood of the viper, she knew that it was important to release said seal if it meant that her village would be spared destruction by the Shinobi mercenaries. "How much longer before the woman finishes? This is quite irritating," said Bear. "Not too long, Bear. If anything, it should be another minute," said Junburo, before pulling out his watch and looking at the time. "Another minute and the eclipse will begin and the seal will break. And the blood of the demon viper will be ours." As predicted, the second the eclipse started, the seal fell away. The air before them twisted as 2 red eyes opened up and glared at them all, before a snake appeared and hissed at them, before flying into the air, before slamming into the ground, before a pillar appeared and on it was a single vial of blood. "There it is. The blood of the viper," said Junburo as he took the vial and pocketed it. "You know the drill." Bear smiled hearing this. "You weaklings, tear this village apart!" yelled Bear. The mercenaries did as told and made their way to the village. Usagi looked terrified, before she ran up to Junburo. "You promised that if I unlocked the seal you'd spare my village!" yelled Usagi, only to get smacked by Junburo. "I promised to spare your life until the ceremony was done. I have nothing else to say to you. Madoka Bear, once the village is destroyed and you're done with your fun, return to headquarters," said Junburo, before running the hand signs. "World Gate." A black and white tunnel opened up before Junburo stepped into it. Usagi fell to her knees as tears fell from her eyes. "What have I done?" she asked herself, before her hair was grabbed by Bear. "You're mine now, you little bitch. Even with the village destroyed, Junburo gave me a free pass. Maybe a week or 2 with you and that little pink-haired bitch, that might take the edge off for a while," said Bear, smirking. Madoka turned to look at the soldiers about to charge out the area before the ground exploded. Standing before the soldiers were a few figures, and at the front of the group was the boy that they had locked away. Only his right arm was encased in a black shell, and his left a white shell. "What are you doing out of your cell?" asked Madoka. "Your friend should have warned you about Uzumaki blood. It's quite a pain in the ass to free myself from that poison, while I would like nothing more than to destroy at this moment in time. I have a score to settle with him," said Naruto, before he vanished and reappeared in front of Bear, grabbing his face and dragging him several hundred years away. Mikoto looks at the remaining mooks and understood why her master had ordered only 7. Each of them was only strong enough to be a low chunin, maybe a high for at least a few. Turning to the rabbits she looked at, before signaling him forward. The color guard, as Naruto had taken to calling them, were each semi-sentient, and could network commands to the other rabbits and make them fight. "Do not allow any mercenaries to escape. All of them are to be destroyed, no exceptions," said Mikoto, not even giving any indication that it heard her, charged in and tore the first man it reached clean in half. That was the signal for the other rabbits to begin fighting. Each rabbit had the power of a low-level jonin, while the members of the color guard each had the power of a high jonin with their own special abilities. Mikoto drew her Kogetsu blade and slashed apart a SM who attacked her from the side. Turning her head, she looked at Madoka, who was engaging in a fight with one of the rabbits and winning. Already she had destroyed the poor thing's arm with her corrosive poison. Growling at her for damaging her master's things, she removed her black trigger. "Black trigger on!" yelled Mikoto as she began to burn up from a blazing white fire. After a minute the flames died down, revealing Mikoto her mask no more, wearing a white and black flame leotard with no sleeves, a deep V that stopped just above her croc, thigh-high matching boots, a shoulder cape hanging on her left side, a katana on her left side, shoulder pads, and black wraps on her forearms. "Phoenix Force!" Madoka growled before looking at Mikoto. "So you really think that you can take me out? I'm the most powerful kunoichi of the Shinobi Mercenaries Enforcer Division!" yelled Madoka. Mikoto smiled, before drawing her katana. Unlike the regular Kogetsu blades, this one was almost saw-like on the bladed side. Mikoto charged in and slashed at Madoka. Madoka jumped back, but felt the air dry around them in only an instant. Landing on her feet, she looked at Mikoto, who frowned. "I meant to make your death clean, but you had go and make me dry the air. Now I have to kill you slowly and painfully," said Mikoto polyphily. Madoka didn't replay before running though hand signs. "Poison release, toxic claws!" yelled Madoka as her fingernails grew, and they gained a green tint. She charged at Mikoto and slashed her chest, or so it appeared. Madoka yelled in pain, her hand turned to ash. Madoka looked at Mikoto as she seemed to heal on the spot. Mikoto raised her sword and stabbed Madoka in the stomach. Madoka yelled before her body burst into flames, and became nothing more than ash. Sheathing her blade, she turned to find the rabbits finishing up with the mercs. She allowed her black trigger to shut down. "I wonder how Naruto-sama is doing?" Mikoto thought to herself before an explosion occurred. Location: Rocky Plains. Same time. Naruto skidded across the ground with twin blades, one black and one white, before he jumped again to avoid the raging fireballs from Bear. The last clash they had torn the entire plain apart, with nothing but fallen trees and debris all over the place. Naruto stood up and turned just in time to see Bear coming at him with an iron jackhammer. Naruto put his hands out, making his two blades fuse together into a shield as the attack hit the shield. Since his black trigger yin-yang force took whatever shape he deemed necessary, it wasn't impossible for him to fuse them for his needs. With yin he could stop physical attacks from flesh and metal. He could even phase though an attempt to block, as well as converting the energy to be useful later. With yang jutsu were nothing to him, as he took the chakra stopping the jutsu. He could also channel any element into yang. It also did the same as its counterpart. Together they were a formidable black trigger, the first black trigger. With both it was a bit overpowered, but in their line of work overpowered was a good thing. Bear jumped back, breathing hard, as his iron jackhammer had failed. The shield turned back into two separate things as Bear growled in anger. He yelled as his body took the red tint from before as his fists turned into iron. Naruto glared before he brought both his orbs to him. He turned Yang into a blade and Yin into a shield, before blocking a right straight from Bear. Yin absorbed the attack, before Naruto slashed Bear across the face. Bear jumped back as blood dripped from the cut on his face. With another growl he ran no hand signs. "Earth release, mud dragon bombs!" yelled Bear. Naruto released Yang from its sword form, before turning into a young woman as she stopped the attack by absorbing it. Naruto called Yang back into a sword, before charging forward and unleashing several slashes at Bear who could do little to stop the attacks. Naruto stopped and slid behind Bear, before channeling all his energy into Yang. "Omni Slash!" yelled Naruto before he unleashed a slash of pure energy from his blade and at Bear. Bear didn't even get to yell as he was no longer in the realm of mortals. Naruto fell to his knees as he allowed Yin-Yang Force to return to its sealed form. Rolling to his back he looked at the sky. The eclipse was already fading, and once it was over nothing but pure blue would remain. "I need to get more practice in with Yin-Yang Force. The fight was only 5 minutes, but I was already reaching my limit with that trigger," said Naruto before getting up and walking to the area he just left. Upon returning to said area, the only living people left were an unconscious Usagi and Mikoto, who smiled at her master. "Return to the village after burning the bodies. We don't need the Shinobi mercenaries collecting their dead and finding out anything out triggers," said Naruto as he lifted Usagi. "Of course, Naruto-sama," said Mikoto before activating Phoenix Force and setting everything on fire. Location: Sun Village. Temple. Several hours later. Sasuke opened his eyes before sitting up in the bed that he had been put in. Looking around, he saw Naruto sleeping not that far away. The door to the room opened, and in walked Kakashi, who was using a crutch to get around. "Oh, you're awake, Sasuke-kun," said Kakashi as he took a seat next to him. "What happened?" "The last thing I remember is being taken out by that bear guy," said Sasuke. "According to the client, Naruto defeated everyone by himself, saved the village, saved you, Sakura-chan, and I," said Kakashi. Sasuke's eyes widened here that his friend was powerful enough to defeat an entire group of shinobi by himself, and moreover 2 of which were listed in the bingo book as professional killers. "What happens now?" asked Kakashi. "I've already sent my report off to the village. We'll be leaving in a day or so," said Kakashi, leaving the room. Sasuke looked at his hands before clutching his fist. "Just how strong are you, Naruto?" Sasuke asked himself. With Naruto. Same time. Usagi and Naruto sat together with 2 cups of tea in their hands. Both drank from them slowly. Usagi wore a white kimono, while Naruto wore his regular clothes. "Why did you not want me to tell about the woman or the puppets that you commanded, Naruto-sama?" asked Usagi. Naruto looked at her. "Because I'm nowhere near powerful enough to do what needs to be done," said Naruto. "What do you mean by that?" asked Usagi. "I'm sorry, but that's all I have to say on the matter, Usagi-san," said Naruto. Usagi looked at him. "It must be such a burden on you to always hide such things on the inside, Naruto-sama," said Usagi with a sad smile. Naruto smiled. "Not at all. In fact, I prefer holding back information from everyone, but those who are truly close to me," said Naruto, bowing to Usagi and walking out of the room. Location: Konoha. Hokage Tower, Minato's office. 1200. Minato and Kazashi sat looking at the 2 letters that they had received from both genin teams that had just gone on C-ranked missions that both quickly escalated to A-ranked missions. Team Kushina took out Momochi Zabuza, the Demon Brothers, and captured a female with an almost extinct elemental bloodline limit, as well as killing Goto, said Minato, sitting down the paper. "And while that was happening, Team Kakashi took out 2 B-ranked shinobi from the shinobi mercenaries. And not only that, but it was your son who apparently killed them and even claimed the 70 million on the 2 combined. He may have just screwed himself a place in the bingo book," said Kazashi, reading over his letter. When he found out that they had taken on a known rapist, he had nearly called for Kakashi's head for not pulling his team and, more importantly, his little girl in such danger. Minato trusted his students' judgment, so he allowed them to continue. Kazashi still planned on having words with Kakashi. So how do you think he did it? Asked Minato, making Kozashi look at him. Excuse me, Hokage-sama? Asked Kozashi, making eye contact with Minato. How do you think my son was able to beat 2 B-rank threats? I know that my wife and I were not the best parents or teachers when it came to my son. We even coddled him during family training, stunting his growth. So how did he defeat 2 B-ranked shinobi? Asked the Yellow Flash. Kozashi looked at the Hokage and thought about it as they fell into a somber silence. Location: Sun Village. Naruto's room. 1900. Naruto sat in his bed reading data from his laptop connected to his lab. They would be in the village another day or so, allowing Kakashi and Sasuke to expel the poison in their bodies. Naruto already knew that he probably wouldn't be able to hide his black trigger if they faced another enemy as powerful as Bear was. Already Kakashi had said that they would need additional training. Naruto already had Mikoto working off the data they had on Bear and Madoka to build a new training facility within the lab. The son of the 4th Hokage looked up from his work as Sakura walked into the room wearing a pink thigh-length kimono. Naruto cancelled his work before turning his to Sakura. The young Haruno maiden slowly closed the door and walked into the center of the room. Her body language was meek and almost submissive, nothing like the young woman he had come to know as his friend over the course of their careers together. What can I do for you, Sakura-san? Asked Naruto, looking at the young woman before him. Sakura blushed. Before walking over to Naruto and sliding onto his bed, she made her way over to him and put a hand on his bare chest. Sakura had never seen Naruto without a shirt on. His figure was impressive. He had several scars on his torso, but none of them ugly. In fact, they just added to Naruto's overall powerful aura. Sakura pushed Naruto onto the bed. To him, her touch was different from Mikoto's, Ayami's, or even Tenten's touch. Hers was of innocence. It was an innocence that she feared losing to anyone she didn't trust her heart or body to. Sakura straddled Naruto, before slowly undoing her kimono and letting it fall, revealing her frieze to the young man before her. The other day when Bear had me trapped, the only thing I could think of is him taking my virginity, said the pinkette. Naruto felt something wet hit his face and realized that his teammate was crying. Sakura, said Naruto. I know that you aren't the man I love, but I need this right here, right now, said Sakura, kissing Naruto as her hands placing her hands on his chest. Naruto narrowed his eyes, before flipping Sakura and pinning her under his full weight. Stop it, Sakura! You're traumatized and trying to replace a bad experience with a mistake, said Naruto. Sakura shook her head. I want this. Please, said Sakura, pleading with Naruto. Naruto got off of Sakura and stared at her. He was a red-blooded male and he the woman before him. Not like this, Sakura, said Naruto, grabbing her kimono and putting it on her. I want you to think really hard about if you really want this. In a few weeks, if you still feel the same, then we will go though with this. Sakura nodded her head, wiping the tears that she didn't know had spilled. Then can I sleep with you tonight? Asked Sakura. Naruto smiled, before kissing her on the forehead. Naruto laid beside Sakura. As the young Haruno woman drifted off to a world where she dreamed of a future with Naruto that would never come. Chapter end. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video. Peace out.